Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are checking out Handong's Gray Zone, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared of this one, because we checked out the teasers, and I didn't even fully comprehend what my face was doing in reacting to that until I was watching it back to edit the video, because I think I was thoroughly shook. I think I was like very much in the gay panic while watching just that little teaser. I'm not ready for this. Now, that being said, I have not been able to track down lyrics for this, at least not translated ones. So I'm sorry that I'm not gonna know what is all going on lyric wise. We are going to check out the audio before I check out the music video, but the music video also, as far last time I checked, didn't have captions on it. So I'm sorry that there's going to be a bit of a limit to how much I can pull apart this song, but I'm excited. Maybe. Pray for me. I'm really not ready for this. Like, I can feel it in my chest. It's a 3-minute long song, and I'm just like processing. Okay. Yeah, the synth is a lot. It feels a bit like a warning though. You know, like in cinema. Get the heavy like percussion. Okay, I know she's just started, but there's literally a scream in the production. What'd I just say? Cinema, something bad is gonna happen. It's like something is walking towards me. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, okay, couple of things. One, the like breathing sample that's happening is crazy. We're talking about like, walking, at least some of the lyrics that I'm picking up, right? But there's a, like I was saying, it feels like with this production, like something is coming at you. And I was thinking, I don't know what the actual word is, but I'm thinking of the like monster films, specifically like Japan, so I know different for Chinese versus Japan, but there's like certain name for them and I can't think of it off the top of my head in this moment. But like I'm thinking of like almost that, something that is like this like creature that's like lurking in, and I think that fits pretty well with something like the vibe we're getting, that darker feeling to it. It's almost like chasing after someone, right? There's this feeling of Handong almost being like this, I don't know, like monster or one in power or whatever. We had the images before the songs came out that was like her in the crown, we had the fire and everything, right? And in the teaser it was like, you don't know me or whatever. So it's taking a little bit of that darker lean in some of the imagery, so it feels almost like she's chasing after someone and they can't like get away from her a little bit, which was not what I was expecting. Like starting off with a scream sample and then having this like breath of almost like someone's been running and they're like panting for breath. They can't stop moving though because they'll be like caught or whatever. Really interesting with the post on her vocals as well, that it, again, it's just like a little bit of this distortion, a little bit of this filter between her and us as like the audience, right? Which usually is an indication of putting in that otherworldly kind of vibe, right? It's an intentional separation of us and her, right? Which is why when you get like ballads or really sentimental songs or whatever, there's usually very little being done to the voice, if at all. Like it's usually just there's like a compressor on the mic or something, right? Like they're not putting a bunch of post on the vocals because you want that like genuine, candid almost feeling to those songs, as opposed to something that's a little bit more perhaps braggadocious or whatever. I'm not entirely sure because again, I don't have the lyrics and all of that, but given Gray Zone feels almost like a like not necessarily good or bad, right? It makes me think of like morally gray or almost like anti-hero, right? So feels like maybe that's some of what we're getting just from the vibes. It's cool to have the percussion be the breath though. I'm sorry, the vocal fry on her voice and then that like deeper breath is like unnecessary. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, first off, the like pay attention, and we have the whispered vocal with also the main vocal, right? I think that that's so interesting to have the whispering and the breath, almost like this voice underneath everything, right? There's something like sinister about those two separations, and almost like there's this feeling of almost her like creeping behind someone, or you don't even fully know that she's after you, you're running, right? It has some of those like horror film feelings of like you're running away from something and then like suddenly they're right there, right? So the jump scare almost of that, and having the like scream sample in there as well, but it's also with these like synths that have a little bit of that off-kilter feeling, right? So it's putting all of these voice samples mixing in with the synths and these artificial sounds, which I think is so interesting in just terms of the production. Really love that we're getting a much clearer vocal from her in this section as well. A bit of a higher part of her range, but also like it's contrasting with that kind of a whispery undertone. And this crazy bass. I didn't need that vocal, thank you. Whoa, and that drop off even drag on her vocal, right? There's a little bit of a lazy end to that line, and we have that descending synth as well. And it almost seems like we have the distorted, like much deeper voice again, having almost this intentional disconnect between her and the audience, which again, maybe because we're going into something braggadocious, maybe, I don't know. I didn't need that vocal, first off. Do not come for me. You never knew me. That. Am I gonna listen to it again? Maybe. For personal reasons, don't worry about it. That is like unnecessary on so many different levels, and I don't even know how to describe how disrespectful I feel like that vocal specifically is to me. Thank you very much. You never knew me. No. Ooh. Oh, it's so interesting, the vocals of this. I don't want to like interrupt her, but like the production choices with having, even there we have a vocal sample that has a bunch of distortion or like post on it that almost sounds like a synth to do that little vocal run. So interesting the way that it's all layering together. There's all these different versions of what I'm assuming is her voice. It's all these kind of voices like mixing together, all these different almost characters to her, that it's all like swirling in the background of like her main vocal. And I think that's so interesting, especially with the lyric of not even knowing her, right? Not fully knowing who she is, especially her doing something solo, right? And taking a different lean from who she is Handong of Dreamcatcher, right? This is her doing something separate, which means that she can lean into different aspects of what she's trying to do, right? So I like having a bunch of these different almost like characters or voices to her, especially for someone who already has a love of like theater and like musicals and stuff like that, where so much of that is how do you play around with your voice. Like theater in general is like how do you portray a bunch of these different characters. So I like that she's leaning into some of that with the way that the different voices are like being utilized, layered in, and mixed with these like synths that are so interesting too. And she sounds great, like these like clear vocals coming through, and then she'll put like a vocal fry at the end of phrases or whatever to like almost have this like lazy drag at the end. It's a lot, and I don't even have visuals yet. That like mixing from the one side to the other. I don't need her to give me a rap cadence. And I don't need it to have the vocal fry on it. And then there's breathing happening, and it's just a lot. And I feel like she is coming for me specifically, and I don't understand why. I have at no point shown any disrespect, and I don't know why I am on the receiving end of any of this. Thank you.
and why? What is the situation? Can't really believe my eyes. 天都是脑海模拟出的环境。值得参与是对待层层炼狱。
That's crazy. The scream. I'm sorry, she's giving me a bridge. She's giving me a bridge. Everybody calm down. I don't have bridges in K-pop songs anymore, and it makes me sad, okay? It clicked in my brain partway through that we have choreo. Put a pin in that for later. I was gonna say something specifically about her vocals. I have to process. Sorry, my brain is like buffering in real time. But I think she's saying lecha, but the tension that she has that is so fun. It has a little bit of a bungee feeling to it. The like lecha, right? Like the way that she's like letting the beginning of that phrase like elongate with this like tension that she's putting in her voice is just like a really fun way of going about that. Okay, give me whatever this bridge is gonna be. That synth is super fun too, like haunting. That was so sweet, and then suddenly it was something else, and I don't know what's going on. Beautiful vocal there. Clean. Lightening up the sound. Love the contrast of that. Don't know why we had to immediately descend into the depths of hell. Unnecessary vocals, thank you. You're ending on like a scream at that descending synth? I don't even know what to say. Because again, I said it in like the teasers that I checked out. I associate Handong with a very specific role within Dreamcatcher, which again, this is her doing her own thing, so she's definitely allowed to play around with that. I think it's a perfect way to play around with some of that and go against expectations, but she has such a soft, sweet voice and such a like gentle, airy performance that she can have. She does such a good job of being some of that counterweight to some of the rock vocals that we get within Dreamcatcher as a group, and some of the darker tones that usually she fits into that pocket, right? That's just a good place for her to be. Doesn't mean that she doesn't deviate from that from time to time, but it's something that she does so well within the dynamics of those songs that it makes sense for her to be there, right? This is not that. I don't know what happened, but this is different. This is a different thing. This is, what was the rap cadence about? What is all this tension that she's putting into her voice? Because like I said, she usually has a much like airier, softer delivery, and we're getting something else, especially for a Chinese song. I'm like, I don't know what it is about like Mandarin as a language, but boy, can you do a ballad in Mandarin, and it is beautiful and heartbreaking, and I'm not much of a ballad person, but I love them. This is not that. That's not, I'm used to the like beautiful delivery and like tones that come with the Mandarin and Cantonese and everything, and this is different, and I'm just processing, and I feel like I knew I was already in trouble, and then we had the scream sample in there, and that there's a music video, and there's choreo, and there's performances and stuff, and there's like a whole album, and I'm feeling like I might be in grave danger. It'll be fine. The apprehension I feel already. It's fine. It's not gonna be fine. I'm not gonna do well. This music video was longer, 10 seconds, but still. I'm gonna struggle so much through this. If you don't like pausing and rewinding, you better get out now. Okay, let's do this. That's a lot of settling. Hello? Whoa, I know I'm interrupting like immediately, but I already said if you don't like pausing or rewinding, this is not the place for you. The like almost like breaking out of the like packaging or whatever that's happening. Okay.
我想要细致这片回忆，要静养的结果，带着美丽的回忆，
Okay.
静养的结果，带着美丽的回忆，
Let's do this.
静养的结果，带着美丽的回忆， 静养的结果，带着美丽的回忆，
Okay. I like the light being like around her in a box though.
Thought, right.
Oh my god. Sorry, I just needed to take a second for the visual. We'll watch it.
Thought,
The blindfold and the dancers too?
right. 2 feet.
Whoa. Ma'am.
躁动的神经，无比理智。
That's cool visual. Wait, okay, so interesting to, again, I already talked about in just the song, feeling there's a lot of different kind of sides to her that are being expressed. Again, I don't have lyric translation. I'm just interpreting from sounds and vibes, but we have her here, like even we have like her standing, her reflection, but also her shadow, right? Like there's 3 of her in this. And then before this, we have the hand that's like wearing white, but it's also like better lit. And then we have the one in shadow wearing like black, right? You can go like yin and yang, black and white, but also just like different sides to her, right? Different aspects. And I was already talking about how we have like gray zone, right? Which is like the middle point of not black and white, not good or bad, not right or wrong. So I think that those all really interesting imagery. We have the like giant orb that was like turning into goo. We have her like pulling herself out of this like packaging that's happening. There was the elevator getting like broken or like smashed in, and then we had the crumbling walls and stuff. There's so many different visuals happening that I don't even know. Oh my gosh. And also visuals happening that I'm not entirely sure what I'll make of it yet.
Mute， 躁动的神经，无比理智，避免叫醒。
And this is like in the ruins. Ooh, and then we have the reflection being different. That's interesting. And again, the different lighting, like the one hand lit brighter than this with the flames or whatever. But we have all this like stuff being like broken or ruined in some way, right? Like this like almost abandoned building that we're in, but there's also the smashed out windows. Interesting.
And why? What is the situation? Can't really believe my eyes.
Ooh, I was gonna say, is it a tarot card? Okay, few different things. One, I was gonna say, is the card a tarot card? Because it's giving the vibes, which is like reading your fortune or fate or even just, I don't know, reflecting on things. There's lots of different ways that you can look at tarot. But I think it's interesting. It looks like we have the moon, obviously associated some of that with just Handong in general, but also the moon is about illusions. Like the card, the tarot card, which I also think is interesting if we're getting all these different sides of her, right? And like the reflections also, if we're looking at that through a spiritual lens, is also about like illusions and being like a true reflection of the soul. That's why you have different creatures like vampires and stuff where they don't have reflections because they don't have souls. They can also be portals into different places. We have the reflection being different than her standing in front of it, right? So it's all of these kind of like illusions and tricks of the mind, right? Which I think is really interesting. But also we have a bunch of fire imagery. Moon is usually associated with like water. So you have, again, that contrast. And there's some of that in even the promotional photos we got like the fiery, warm coloring aesthetics, and then others where it was like the blue lighting with like a white again, right? So those contrasts between those two things, fire and water, black and white, right and wrong. And instead we're in like the gray zone. We're in that like middle section that is neither this or that, right? I think it's interesting that we have masks on some and blindfolds on others for the dancers. I like the shadow being different. That's so interesting too, the like POV with the camera. I like that, like almost like whistle. That's a cool transition. Whoa. Ma'am, I know I'm interrupting right before, but I was also thinking the broken glass, also talk about like mirrors, fortune, misfortune. So I think that's also, again, like, I think it's interesting to have some of the dancers are blindfolded and some of them have masks, right? Some of that's like, again, the contrast, like difference between what are you hiding? Eyes, gateways into the soul, but then like mouth is like, what are you actually saying? But it's also makes me think almost speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil, right? Again, we're talking about like right and wrong, gray zone, being somewhere in the middle of those two things. Very interesting.
You never knew me.
Did she smirk at? I'm sorry. Just a little bit of science. Just a little bit of science for just the briefest moment. Cool. That's totally fine. It's totally fine. I don't even care.
You never knew me.
Apparently not. Oh my god. Again, rain, water. Ooh, going backwards. Oh, okay, first off, the rain going backwards, but then the little activation, like shoulder. That's cool, the overlay. Oh my god. Sorry, but look at her. Good lord. And we have the mark on her shoulder. Love a hand detail. Whoa, that was good. The like activation of that, isolating it on the like wrist, elbow, shoulder. It looked like we were going at the different like joint points for that. That's so fun of just like getting this like floaty, but it's not quite ticking, but it's like there's a little bit of a less fluid movement, right? Because she's doing it in those like phases of the different like joints that's activating the movement. I'm not gonna be okay with this. I'm already having a tough time, but I'm like, when I say that we're gonna have to check out the dance practice, when I say we're gonna have to check out performances, when I say that this might be the entirety of my next like who knows how long, I need you to understand.
What is the situation? Can't really believe my eyes.
Yeah, such a good ma'am. The facial expressions. I need you to stop smirking at me. Ooh, that's what we saw. Oh, just also I like the whistling. We saw the broken mirror in the teaser, but I also think it's interesting to have the like broken mirror. I talked about associating the misfortune and all of that, but also it's literally breaking up the reflection, right? Again, lots of different versions of her. It's distorting that reflection. It's almost like making it fractal in some way, which I think is really fun. I need her to not smirk at me. Also, she's a bunch of different contact lenses too, so it's almost like changing even something like the eyes, like I was saying before, of being a gateway into the soul, and even that you can't fully trust because even that's like changing depending on like the facade she's taking on. It's almost she can do anything, right? Don't think that because you've seen like one version of her you understand all of it, right? Some good camera work in it too. Yeah, I was like, I need a better thing. We've got the like marble that's happening, but also the plushie. Again, like the difference between something that is like the classics, like cold marble, almost like unshakable in some ways, and then having the plushies, which are like soft, more childish, but like this one even has like an angry face on it. So it's the juxtaposition of those things. I don't need her to walk at me like that. I like the little, yeah. Ooh. Wait, the little taking the hands with the dancers for that like breaker, and then the little hit on the certain percussion. I have too many thoughts. Yeah, the little like top there. Where are their chains? I love that for the hand detail. Don't smirk. Unnecessary. I totally forgot that we were levitating at one point. Like we're getting all the credits. I just feel a lot of things because like on the one hand, right? There's so much going on visually. Also, I love that we have almost something very reminiscent of like Odd Eye here. The Odd Eye like dance move, even the lead, which I think is probably on purpose, right? Because she could have chosen any kind of like hand detail for that one. And I think that picking something that is reminiscent of that specifically, given the like watch me and pay attention and all of the kind of eye imagery I've gotten with like close-ups, but also the contacts changing, right? And eyes being like both the gateway into the soul and all of that like reflection of the soul, but also can you trust your eyes? Can you trust your own vision? I think is all really interesting for this. So much going on with this music video. I was expecting that we were going to get something a little more narrative, not just because Handong, and I feel like she was going to incorporate some of that into her music anyway, because of, again, her interest in like theater and musicals. And I associate with her with ballads partly because she likes to use music as storytelling. But I wasn't expecting like the sheer amount of like different layers of visuals and stuff that we were getting in this. And it makes me even more sad that I don't have a translation of the lyrics and everything, because I feel like there's probably a bunch of different things in that are going hand in hand with the visuals, and like why are we focusing on certain shots and certain colors, and why are certain things happening in the music video at certain times and all of that. But what a music video. I wasn't expecting us to get a music video anyway, and then we're getting all a bunch of different things for this, which makes me super happy that she's got a bunch of stuff prepared for us, but definitely more than I was expecting given her going off and doing stuff on her own. I know that she has a label at least with her Chinese releases, but definitely wasn't expecting all of this like choreo dancers. It makes me so excited to check out more stuff from this. I need to calm down first. What a ride. I don't even know what to say, like, that I haven't already talked about. I feel like there were so many different things in this, just like sonically, and the visuals that we're getting in the music video, let alone getting into like digging into lyrics and everything. Just the performance that we were getting from her, I think not only shows that she's trying to do something different, right, outside of what she usually did within the group of Dreamcatcher, but also is her like intentionally showing a bunch of different facets of her, right? There's choreo, she can dance, there's different parts of her voice. We have the like softer, breathier delivery, but we also have more of a like rap cadence lean. There's also like more aggressive delivery in some of it, and having a lot more tension in her voice. There's some of the lazier vocal fry delivery, right? And getting a bunch of that. The different styling and costumes in this, right? Like, again, I wasn't ready for how much was going to be in this, but I'm very like excited to see what else we're going to get in terms of like sonically what we're getting, and also just the different parts of this release that she has scheduled and everything that I'm gonna have to catch up on. But what a song though. I like, if I talked about the fact that I just like the song, I like the darker concept. I like, again, for something like Gray Zone, which is saying I'm not this or that, I'm not one thing, I'm in the middle of all of that. And I think that's a really fun concept anyway, to say I'm not going to just fit into one or the other. Even just like Handong in general, I picture so many iconic moments within Dreamcatcher where she's all in white and she's giving us these angelic vocals, and she's having her moment, right, where she's contrasting a bunch of the darker side of Dreamcatcher. And I like that this is her intentionally being like, I'm not going to be like one thing, I'm not going to fit into one box, I'm going to do a lot of other things and stretch what I'm able to do as an artist, because she is doing something on her own, and that means that she doesn't have to figure out her dynamic within a group or figuring out what the overall like narrative is going to be and how best she falls into that, right? There's a bunch of things that have to happen when you're working working in a group of people as opposed to working on your own, where there's a little bit more freedom there in terms of just what you're capable of doing within the song, right? So I really love that we're getting something like very different from what we've gotten from her, both within Dreamcatcher songs, but even like doing solo things that she's done, right? Both as like her solo within the discography, but then covers that we've gotten, medleys and things, right? All of that kind of fits in like a certain pocket for her. And I like that this is really breaking out of that and showing different parts of what she's capable of, even if it does make me worry for like my own health and sanity going into the rest of this album. But you know what? For Handong, I'm willing to make a sacrifice. But I hope you enjoyed listening to that along with me. You can click this playlist to go to my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so next time I post a Dreamcatcher reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.